In example 1, it is asking us which expressions are equivalent. Equivalent means equal. So which are equal? So I'm going to work through each of these to determine which ones are the same. For right now, I'm just going to leave root 12 as it is. For root 3 times root 4, I know I can multiply these. So 3 times 4 gives me root 12. So right now it looks as though A and B are equivalent. For C, I'm going to put the coefficient back inside the radical to see if we get 12. So 4 times 3, and remember I put it back in twice because to have been removed, there needed to be 2. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. No, that is not equivalent so far to A and B. And for this last one, I will also put the coefficient back inside, and we end up with 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So A, B, and D are all root 12, therefore they are equivalent. For example 2, it asks what is the side length and perimeter. So remember that perimeter means the length of the outside. And this is a square. We know that because it says it, which means it has 4 right triangles. And I know that a diagonal line in a hypotenuse of this triangle cuts these 2 angles in half, meaning this is 45 degrees, this is 45. If I add them together, I get 90, and therefore this is 45, and this is 45. So what we have right now is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. If we look back at Unit 4, we remember that 45, 45, 90 triangles are a special right triangle where both sides or legs are equal, and the hypotenuse is just the square root of 2. So I can use this information to figure out what the side length is in the perimeter. In our problem, it tells us that the diagonal or the hypotenuse is 20 inches. So I know that 20 inches of a special right triangle is equivalent to x root 2. So I'm going to set x root 2 equal to 20. Now, I want to do this so that I can solve for x, because if I know what x is, 1, I know what the side length is. And if I know the side length of each of the 4 congruent sides, I can find the perimeter. So we divide by the square root of 2. Those cancel. I'm left with x. We are not allowed to have a radical in the denominator, so I multiply by the square root of 2, leaving me with 20 square root 2 over 2. Now 20 divided by 2 can be simplified to 10. So I now have 10 square root 2. So this will be my side length. Now the side length is 10 square root 2, and squares have 4 congruent sides. So I know that each of them is equivalent to 10 square root 2. So if I wanted to figure out the perimeter, I would just add up these 4 sides. So 10 square root 2 plus 10 square root 2 gives me, well, I know that I can add these. These are like terms. They're like terms because we have the same radical, and 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 gives me 40. So I know that the perimeter is 40 square root 2.